Om Jnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha.
So gives encouragement to the devotees who distribute the books. Here at Mayapur, my Guru Maharaj was printing one paper. It was selling for only a few paisa. Sometimes whenever one brahmachari would go to Navadvip and sell even a few copies, I would see my Guru Maharaj become very pleased. Yeah, actually this Brihat Mridanga idea, of course, this came from Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Prabhupada, who printed many books by previous acharyas and also his own books. And he also printed magazines and newspapers in different languages. And here we see that Prabhupada said that he was very pleased if someone would just even distribute a few magazines. Now, of course, we shouldn't think that, well, I'll just distribute 3 books and Prabhupada will be very pleased, that will be enough. This idea of the Brihat Mridanga, the greater Mridanga, Prabhupada took this idea from his Guru Maharaj and made it really big Mridanga. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur gave the idea to print magazines and journals and books in different languages. And Srila Prabhupada made the program to print books in all the different languages and distribute them very widely. He based his whole movement on this book distribution. And he wanted his books distributed, not just a few, but hundreds and thousands and millions. And he wanted that this whole world should be flooded with his books. He said that I want every home in America to have one full set of my books. So if you're thinking in Russia we already distributed enough books, I think you're wrong. Unless there's a full set of books in everyone's home, we haven't distributed enough books here. I think you have still a lot of work to do. So, filling up every home with Prabhupada's books won't happen unless the devotees distribute a lot of books. In the early days of this movement, devotees, they learned how to distribute books for the first time. Now our devotees have become more experienced and they're getting more inspiration from Krishna. And our movement has become more organized. So we know how to distribute many books. And there are experienced devotees who train others. Of course, there is no particular material formula for distributing books. The main formula is written right here on this wall. Yasya deve para bhakte yatha deve tata guru. And the sentence is unfinished. Tasyaite katita hyarta prakashante mahatmanaha. One who has firm faith in Guru and Krishna, he is empowered to understand what is their message. But it is a fact that our movement has come from the days when distributing 10 big books was considered a very big score, to days where some devotees, they've even distributed literally hundreds of books per day. So if anyone is going out and sincerely trying and they're distributing a few books, that is good. But really, we should think how to distribute many books, because the world is a big mess. By definition, the material world is a mess. People are hoping against hope, durashaya, that they will be happy. But they are simply suffering, repeated birth and death. But particularly in the modern age, the world is more of a mess than in any time since the last Kali Yuga. It's a very sinful civilization. This country was already sinful in its own way. And now they're importing American and Western ideas of sinfulness to add to their own traditional sinfulness. So people are making very strong endeavors how to go to hell for a long time. And they're not even content to wait to go to hell. They want to make this earth hell also. So the karmis, they are very serious how to make life miserable for themselves and others. They're very serious how to forget Krishna. So devotees have to be at least as serious to remind those who don't want to be reminded about Krishna. Luckily, in this country, there are many people who actually take some interest in these things. The preachers in this country are in that sense very fortunate. Because there are many countries in the world where people are not very interested in Krishna consciousness. Devotees were telling me in Hong Kong, they go to distribute books and they walk into someone's office and they just, common thing, the people in the office, they just completely ignore them as if they're not even there. Devotees say, "Excuse me, sir, I'd like to show you a book," in Chinese. And a lot of the people, they just completely ignore that they're even existing standing in front of them. They just go on with their work. They talk to the person next to them like this. In Japan also, they've distributed a lot of books, but not many people, after so many years, very, very few people became devotees. So you're lucky to have so much encouragement that you go out and distribute books, and people walk into the temple carrying their book, asking what's it all about, and they become devotees also. So there is good interest in Krishna consciousness in this country. Plenty of demons also, that we accept. But even the demons, they can be changed to Krishna consciousness. These books have that effect. That's why we're distributing these books, because they're so powerful to change people's lives. Just see, someone's life, everyone's life, they're simply engaged in totally materialistic activities, completely in ignorance, without any knowledge, going towards hell. Feeling totally frustrated with no particular aim in life. And they get Prabhupada's book, they read it, and all of a sudden they're jumping up and down, chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. And all their friends and relatives are sure they've become completely insane. But they're getting so much nectar from chanting Hare Krishna, they don't even care that all their relatives and their friends and the people they've been close to all their life, they don't care. Whoever criticizes them, they're just anxious for that nectar of Krishna consciousness. And this isn't only happening once, this is happening hundreds, see, we have so many devotees here, and this is only a few of the devotees here. So why not take this opportunity to make people Krishna conscious by distributing books? Be compassionate, that is one of the main qualities of a devotee. That he sees that people are suffering. We can benefit them by distributing these books. So don't be content with distributing 1, 2 or 3. Think in terms of 100, 200, 300 per day. It's not impossible. You meditate on it, pray to Krishna. See what you can do. Everyone can do it. If every devotee distributes, even those devotees who are not regular Sankirtan devotees, if every devotee who's doing some other service also makes a vow or a pledge to distribute even just 10 books a week, then if you put that together, then you immediately have an extra 1,000 books. Yes. Everyone can do it. Everyone should do it. Prabhupada writes here, continuing the letter from Prabhupada, he, that means his Guru Maharaj, Srila Bhakti Saraswati Thakur, he personally instructed me that books are more important than big temples. Not that big temples are not important. I don't want to come here and criticize your project. Prabhupada also, as well as publishing and distributing books, he personally arranged for big temples, especially in Los Angeles, Bombay, Delhi, Bombay, Vrindavan, Mayapur, Hyderabad. All these places Prabhupada personally arranged for the construction of big temples. So it's not that big temples are not important, they are. And it's not that other programs are not important. All Krishna conscious programs are important. But book distribution is undoubtedly, as Prabhupada has stressed many, many times, the most important activity in this movement. At Radha Kund, he, means Bhakti Saraswati Thakur, told me that since constructing the big marble temple at Bagh Bazaar, there have been so many difficulties. Our men are envious over who will live in which room. I think it would be better to take off all the marble and sell them and print books. He told me this personally. So I am always emphasizing book distribution. It is the better kirtan. It is better than chanting. Of course, chanting should not stop, but book distribution is the best kirtan. Yes, again, Brihat Mridanga. So we have Mridanga here. And the Brihat Mridanga means the printing press, the big Mridanga. Because this Mridanga drum, this can be heard for a short distance. But when we distribute books, that arrangement, the books go all over the world. These books, they have their own potency to go to all kinds of places. I personally found one book of Srila Prabhupada's in a remote house in the country in Ireland. No devotee ever went to that remote village, I'm sure. But the book went there and found me. And here I am. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. And there are many, many such stories. One devotee, he was walking along the street and he saw a piece of paper stuck to his shoe. What? A piece of paper from the floor had become stuck to his shoe. So he bent down to pick it up, and he was just going to throw it away, but he saw written on the piece, just a little piece of paper like this, and he saw written in small writing, "Back to Godhead." And he thought, that's a very strange title. So he looked to see what was written there. I can't remember exactly the words, but it said something like, everyone in this material world is struggling, but they cannot find happiness because the very nature of this world is that it is full of distress. And that struck him as being such an amazing statement that he cleaned the piece of paper, put it in his wallet, and read it every day. He had no idea what Back to Godhead magazine was, no idea what the Hare Krishna movement is, but he just saw this every day. He thought, that makes sense. Then after some time, after some months, he was walking along the street one day, and who should he meet but someone who was pushing a magazine into his face. And he just pushed him, I don't want this. Whatever it is, I don't want it. Then he just saw the title, Back to Godhead. Wait a minute, I do want that. Give me all the books you've got. Who are you anyway? Where are you from? So what happened within a very short time, he was also out on the streets distributing Back to Godhead magazine. There's another story I heard that one man was just walking along and he saw a man arguing with his wife. He saw on the street a man arguing with his wife. And she was saying something like, throw it away, throw it away. He said, no, I want it, I just paid for it. So as usual in such cases, the wife usually wins. So he threw it in the bin. So this man who was seeing this, he looked to see what it was that they were arguing about. And he saw a beautiful, very colorful book with a funny title in some funny language which he couldn't understand. Something like Sri Isopanisad. So he looked, and no one was looking, so he looked in the bin and took it out. And he also became a devotee. So you don't know what is the power of these books. So these books, they may even sit in someone's house for many, many years. And then they may suddenly read them and change their lives. When I was distributing books in Thailand, I was once in a remote town in the north of Thailand. And I saw a couple of man and woman, they're Western people. So I hadn't seen any Western people for a few weeks because it's only Thai people in that area. So anyway, they came up to me. I was dressed like this, dhoti, everything, and said to me, Hare Krishna.
They said?
Yeah. They said, before I could say to them, they said to me. So I was surprised that, and not only were there Western people, which are rare species in that part of the world, but saying Hare Krishna also, which is very rare anywhere in the world. So they told me they're from a remote part of America. They moved away from the big cities because they're sick of the materialistic way of life. That every month they would drive to the nearest town, about 100 miles, to buy some supplies and different things. So one time they happened to get one of Prabhupada's books. Someone was distributing in this remote town. And they were very interested in this because they knew the materialistic civilization was all wrong. That's why they moved away from it. But at the same time, they knew their life wasn't complete. Just to live in the country and be peaceful didn't satisfy them. So when they got this book, they were very satisfied. But they were wondering what to do next. We got this book and it tells us about Krishna consciousness, but what do we do? So by Krishna's arrangement, in that remote place, one devotee came who had been living in a temple previously but wasn't now. And he was a little bit in Maya. But when they found out that he knew about Krishna, they asked him so many questions and then he started to teach them everything and he got fired up and he started chanting his rounds again and they all started chanting and they started doing everything right in their home. So after some time they made the long journey to an ISKCON temple and then they found out that devotees dress like this and they found out so many more things about Krishna. So when they came for a vacation to Thailand and they saw me, they knew this must be Hare Krishna. So they were very happy to say to me, Hare Krishna, and I was very happy to see them too.
This movement is meant for making people happy. Actually, many people, just by seeing us, they feel happy.
Just when our devotees go out dressed in their dhotis or their saris, with their shaved head or not shaved head if they're ladies, many people, they become very happy. They think of our movement, oh, very nice people. They're always singing and dancing and no problems. People know that our devotees are different. They know we're not part of this materialistic society. Even the demons who accuse our devotees of being interested in taking people's money away and being materialistic like them, they also know our movement isn't ordinary. So, you know that? That must be here also. Some people accuse our movement of being just interested in taking people's money away. Is that here in Russia also? Everywhere like that. But so many people are taking other people's money away. Everywhere there's advertisements for cigarettes, they're taking your money away and giving you lung cancer, giving you nothing of any value. Alcohol, they're taking your money away. There are so many people selling so many useless things. So why should they complain about us? Actually, we're giving something valuable. We're giving philosophy. We're giving knowledge. But they get upset at this because they know that this philosophy is very dangerous. If there was no substance in these books, then people would not be concerned. If we were giving out something which kept people in the materialistic bodily concept of life, no one would complain. But because these books expose the whole materialistic society as being a hypocritical farce, therefore dedicated, staunch materialists, they become very upset. These books are a punch in the face to the materialistic concept of life. I remember once in London we were just standing inside the door at the entrance to our temple. We had just been out distributing books all morning. We came back at midday for prasad and we were going out again in the afternoon. When through the letterbox came a big book. Boom! Russia Bhagavatam. So we opened it up and it was all inside, it was all scribbling. Someone obviously had a book distributed to them. And they were so upset by it that they made the trouble to come all the way to our temple and give it back to us with scribbling all over it. It agitated their minds so much. Especially that volume of Bhagavatam was the volume with Rishabh Dev's teachings. Pumsastriya mitani bhavametam tayaraho hridya grantimahu. In this book it said that the basis of material life is the attraction between male and female. And other such straightforward books directly exposing the materialistic concept of life. That people who live for sense gratification only, they're no better than hogs and dogs. So these people who are living like hogs and dogs, they don't like to be told that they're living like hogs and dogs. Nevertheless, it is our duty to inform them that, my dear sir, you may think yourself very advanced, but actually you are a hog or a dog. And those who are more sincere, they will think, yes, I'm living like a hog or a dog, I should stop living like a hog or a dog. That's why Prabhupada said that these books, they will appeal to people who are more sincere. Of course, very few people in this material world are very sincere. That's why we're all here. That's why other programs like Harinam Kirtan, public festivals, prasad distribution, they're also very, very important. Just to help people become purified so that they can begin to appreciate the message of these books. So we have big work to do. To make the whole world Krishna conscious, it's not a job for just sleeping. Just like you may be thinking to finish the construction of this temple is a big job. It is. But that's only the beginning. The real work begins when the temple is finished. Of course, the real work is already going on. But this whole temple is being built as a great facility for preaching. And the main thrust in that preaching is distributing Srila Prabhupada's books. This temple is a base for distributing those books. So that when people get the books, they can come here and see so many activities and be preached to and be impressed and also take up devotional service. So Prabhupada writes here, chanting, that means street kirtan, Harinam, that should not stop. But book distribution is the best kirtan. So let us push all these programs on very strongly. Always remembering the prime position of book distribution. If the book distribution is emphasized, then everything else will follow nicely. That is the practical experience all over the world. Books are the basis, and all other programs will go on very nicely when that book distribution basis is very strong. I'm sure you've heard all these things before, and I hope you hear them all again and again and again, and take it up seriously. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Any question? I can take one or two questions. Here. This is Tulsi Prasad from Krishna Balaram Temple in Vrindavan, and I have some pictures I've been giving, deity pictures I've been giving away. I hope there's enough. I'll give that out afterwards. I also have some books which I have written, which whoever understands English, they can also purchase from me. They can see me about that afterwards. Alright, so I think to distribute this Tulsi Prasad, the best thing is if we move this, and then we move this, and then I can do